Welcome everyone to Bonifabcustom. We have an exciting show for you today. We are building a Life Size IG-11 Droid from the Mandalorian. Today is our 4th episode and we're building the bottom part of the legs. Let's get right into it. So before we can get into the fabrication of the legs, we're going to do some sketches of our design and our sizes. So now that we have our sketches, let's find some material for our legs. We're going to need some 2-inch bar and some rectangular tube. Now that we have our material, let's cut it and turn it on the lathe. Now that we have the bottom part of our leg all turned up, the bottom part will fit into our foot that we already made, and the top part is going to line up for the rubber knee that we have. Now we're going to weld on this rectangular tubing to the bar. The problem is there's no radius on the back of this, so when we weld it, if we try and weld this tubing right to the radius here, we're going to have a huge gap there. So to get rid of that gap, I'm going to take this bar and on my iron worker, I will squish down this tube on one side to create some sort of radius. And that will make this sit and fit a little bit nicer into this bar. And then we can weld it up and machine it. So now we have the rectangular tubing with the radius on the back that we did on our iron worker. We're going to weld that to the bottom part of our leg, which is our round bar that we turned up on the lathe. Right here, this is basically a CV joint cover. It's the boot for the CV joint. And this is going to act as our cover for our knee. Very similar to the drawing or the picture here of the droid. Now we're also going to make this little knee stop right here and right here, but we're going to concentrate on the bottom one right now because it will go right here where this small diameter is turned. Just to give you a little insight of what I use for a welder, I use a Miller 280DX, and that I use for my TIG aluminum and my TIG stainless and steel. I use a gas lens, a number 8, and I use lanthanum as my tungsten for all my work. Now that we have the bottom of the leg complete and we welded it to the inside of the bottom of the foot, we're going to put it all together and we're going to weld it to the bottom of our platform. As we're building this droid, it's tall, it's big and heavy. We're going to have some support on the back. So we're going to weld some 1.5-inch tube about 6 feet long to the bottom of the platform. And as we're building it from the bottom up, we're going to weld some supports to the legs and to the torso and to the head, just to give it that extra support so we can move it. Thank you again for watching Bonifabcustom as we go through this very complicated project, the IG-11 from the Mandalorian. We are working on tooling and molds and castings for the hips and for the top part of the legs, very intricate parts. So the last couple of weeks has slowed us down a little bit, but next week we have an exciting episode with a lot of these builds and how we're putting it together. So stay tuned, please watch, please subscribe, and thank you for supporting the channel, and we'll see you next week.